fine pastors that I see who have come out tonight to participate in the concern that has come on the shores of our community. We want to thank you, and for the fine residents of Millville. I thank God so much for you, for being here tonight, because I believe that you are concerned about your community. And I want to, very quickly, because I know the time is of the essence and we need to move forward, but I want to just share some thoughts that I think are apropos for this season of where we are. Drastic times call for drastic measures. And we have to sometimes look at our paradigm, our methodology of how we do things. And there are certain times when we have to change our paradigm. I want to tonight respond. It was brought to my attention several days ago. I'm not a reader of the paper too much anymore because I just don't have time. But it was brought to my attention that someone had inquired, why am I interested in the community, and maybe I should just shut my mouth. And I thought about that. I did. I thought about that. And I want to respond tonight. And my response is why I refuse to remain silent. That's my response. I want to respond because as I sat down in my cogitations and began to think about the people who are responsible for where I am today, people like Ennis, who was my biological father, who spoke life and not death. And I began to think about where would I have been if Daddy hadn't spoke life into me? What would have happened if he had become silent? I thought about people like the fine gentleman you see behind me, Pastor James Duncan. I had the privilege of sitting under his tutelage for 12 years. And I thought about what would have happened to Dave Ennis if James Duncan had chose to remain silent. Amen. I think about people like Barry L. Ballard, superintendent of schools, First Township School District. I think about people like Paul Melbourne, who has been teaching for nearly 40 years in the Port North School District. And I thought about what would have happened to David Ennis if those persons had chosen to remain silent. So I've come to tell you tonight that I refuse to remain silent. I refuse to hold my breath. I refuse to keep my peace. I've come to speak up. I've come to address issues. I've come to tell the people of this community that this is your community, and you've got a right to be concerned. I've come to tell the people who are here tonight that you have a right to address the issues in your community. As I begin to think about my childhood growing up in Haleyville, and I would look to Brixton, 21 miles west from where I was. And I would look to Port Norris, 5 miles south of where I was. And I looked to Millville, which was 12 miles north from where I was. And I looked to the east at the Marsh River, and my heart was always drawn to Millville. I would go to Port Norris, but there was something about Millville, and I would always say that someday I've got to get to Millville. I like Haleyville, but there's something in Millville that I've got to get to. I've got to go to Millville someday. And when I became a man, God fulfilled that dream. He allowed me to move myself from my confounds of Port Norris and Haleyville. He brought me into the city of Millville. So I'm just coming by to tell you tonight that I refuse to be silent. I refuse to shut my mouth, because for such a time as this that God has brought me in, I know it was the hand of God that has brought me to where I am. So I want to encourage you tonight, the residents of this community, that we are not to allow this evil that has come up on the shores of our community to intimidate us and has attempted to steal the security that we know. And our security and safety seems to be seeping through the grit, through the very cracks of evil and violence. I'm going to tell you tonight that now's not the time for you, my Caucasian sisters who are here, who have had to be intimidated because of a threat that they see you at a crosswalk. They're going to shoot you. I'll come by to tell you tonight that ride with your roof down. Put your windows down in your car. This is the city of Millville, and you're not here to run and be afraid. You're here to let them know this land is yours. I thought about being silent, and I said, if I'm silent, my little son, who's 14 years old, as I look into his eyes, I thought about what would happen if I would shut my mouth. I thought about being quiet. I thought about the danger of getting involved in civic community and getting involved in other people's predicaments, but my heart was turned to my own child. I looked at him and I looked in his eyes and I said, if I don't speak up, who will speak up? If I don't break the silence, who will tell him that he's capable and able to do exceedingly? So to those who have inquired about me breaking my silence, I must not be silent. I've come to encourage you tonight that if I'm silent, then that means that the blood of people like Mr. Pritchett was wasted in vain. If I'm silent, that means that Charles Jones, my brother, Bunky, who died 2 years ago, if I'm silent, that means that he was shot and died for no reason at all. No, I come by to tell you, I refuse to be silent. I thought about that thing and it began to bother me. God gave me a mouth to talk. He gave me, watch this, he gave me sense to articulate. I refuse. I don't know where you are, but I refuse to come back. I refuse to sit down. I refuse to be silent. I refuse to go in isolation. This land is not your land. Finally, I thought about being silent. But I went on a trip one day. And I heard the birds as they were singing in their treetops. I went to the beach one day. Watched the water as it moved back and forward. I sat one day in my own yard and watched the trees as they talked to each other. I said, now if the trees talk to each other, and if the birds whistle a song, and if the water goes, why? Who am I to be silent? No, I thought about it. I think this is the wrong day to hold your peace. And as I close this thing, I want you to understand, the community residents of Millville, that this land doesn't belong to the Bloods. I'm thinking about numbers now, and I'm looking at the statistics of Millville. I'm told that there are 28,000 residents here. When I look at the equation, something is not adding up. You've got 5 or 10 or 15 people who say they're gang members. Come on here, watch this. Look in this room tonight. There's enough of us in this room. Oh, I've got to go there for a minute because I heard a while ago, watch this, about the guardian angels. Well, I received some help yesterday, and I need to tell you this, that the guardian angels are here. I know you didn't know, and I know that you weren't expecting to be here, but I want you to know that the guardian angels have made a special arrival. They are in this place tonight. Matter of fact, you're sitting next to a guardian angel. I tell you, there's a guardian angel behind you. Look up here. There are guardian angels over there. There are guardian angels all over this place. There are guardian angels. You're an angel. You're an angel. It's your time. We appreciate the help from neighboring cities. But I believe that if this city is going to survive, it will survive because of the people who have roots. I thought about being silent, but I was born at Millville Hospital. The 14th day of May, 1965. So if I turn my back on my city, my place of birth, then I have no history. I thought about being silent. But then I read in the Bible that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and all that dwell therein. I thought about being silent, but then I was reminded of an old folk song that went like this. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. As I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. I said, this land was made for you and me. I roamed and I rambled and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond desert. And all around me a voice was standing and sounding, this land was made for you and me. Nobody living can ever stop me. As I go walking my freedom highway, nobody living can ever make me turn my back. promised land was made for you and me. And I've got another incentive tonight of why I won't be silent. When I look at my tax bill,